And I will get started and read what has become the beginning of every meeting as we've been remote, and change has come our way so much over the last year. So before we get fully into the meeting, I'd like to ask Deb if you would confirm attendance from the members and also persons anticipated on tonight's agenda.
Certainly. Member Castellanos?
Present.
Member Capola?
Present.
Member Ford?
Present.
Member Gately?
Present.
Member Nicholson?
Present.
Member Satterwhite?
Present.
Mayor McGee?
Present.
And for the record, also present, Dr. Tutwiler, Superintendent, Kimberly Powers, Deputy Superintendent, Deb Ruggiero, Deputy Superintendent, Kevin McHugh, School Business Administrator, Mary Jules, Secretary of the School Committee.
Thank you. Good evening. This is Mayor Tom McGee, and I'd like to say thank you for joining us at this open meeting of the Lynn School Committee, which is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting on the city website, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely, so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. The meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting, the school department is convening by telephone conference via video conference on the Zoom platform, as posted on the city's website and on the Lynn Public School website. Additionally, this meeting can be viewed on the local cable channels, Channel 3 for Comcast, Channel 37 for Verizon. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, be aware that other people may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything you broadcast may be captured by that recording. Before we turn to the first item on the agenda, we'll follow the ground rules for tonight's meeting. I will introduce the speakers on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the members, I will go down in each and every member, inviting them to provide comment, questions, or motions. I will recognize those, and please hold until your name is called. Members, remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If any discussion will happen between the members, you'll do so through the chair taking care to identify yourselves. And again, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call. Tonight, as we begin the meeting, we have a very limited agenda. And I think we all are meeting tonight with heavy hearts for the loss we have sustained from one of our colleagues and friends, and someone who's been a fixture here since 1985 as a key contributor and committed public servant, John Myhouse, who passed away last week, who was committed to this committee and to so many members and superintendents over the years, but more importantly to the community and to the students in the schools for his work with all of us. So tonight we will meet, and then a couple of agenda items that we need to take up tonight, but we do so recognizing the loss and continue to move forward, carrying John with us as we move forward. So I'd ask that you join me in a salute to the flag and remain standing as we stand in a moment of silence for Attorney John Myhouse, who is a Lynn Public Schools attorney, again, since 1985, who passed away on May 21st. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd ask that everyone watching as well as on the Zoom here, members of the committee and staff, a moment of silence in memory of John. Thank you. So on the agenda tonight, I know hopefully everyone has had a chance to get their budgets. We are required to set the date for the public hearing on the FY 2022 budget. And again, as required is why we're meeting tonight, to do that, to follow the requirements both for setting the hearing, having the budget, and then having a public hearing. The date certain. That date certain is proposed as July 1st of this year. And so if there is any discussion that any members would like to have on that, or open to a motion to move to set the date for a public hearing for our FY 2022 budget. Is there any discussion by any members? If not, I'm open to a motion to accept. Member Satterwhite.
Motion to set the date for the hearing on the 2022 budget.
Second.
The motion made and second to set that date, July 1st, 2022, as the date for public hearing on budget, with a second requires a roll call.
Member Castellanos?
Yes.
Member Capola?
Yes.
Member Ford?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Nicholson?
Yes.
Member Satterwhite?
Yes.
Mayor McGee?
Yes. Next on the agenda, which is,
Mr. Mayor, it's Kevin.
yes,
It's
yes, Kevin. Yes, Kevin, I'm sorry, please.
No, just to clarify, I need the time and the location. So we could start at 6 if we so wish.
Okay,
And I need, is it gonna be, virtual in the administration building on the school committee room, or I know you had previously mentioned, City Hall, so I'll need the location too.
Mary, hand up.
Mary, would you like to speak to that? And again, we can talk about the timing, typically 7 o'clock, but I'm open to a discussion with the members. Mary, would you like to speak to that, please? Mary Jules?
Well, it was suggested that we meet at the council chambers at City Hall. That's the suggestion, so I would throw it out to the committee members to get their feeling on it.
I'm fine with that.
Member Satterwhite, any other discussions? I would agree. I think it's well prepared for public meetings. It's cable TV ready. There's plenty of space, and so I think it's a good suggestion. Any other discussion? Member Satterwhite, would you like to just speak to that, or again, other members, please weigh in if you like.
Just that normally we do it an hour before, Mr. Mayor, not the time of the actual meeting that we would approve it at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I can amend my motion to include the date and the place. The time and the place, which I'm hoping is 6 p.m. At the council chambers at City Hall.
The motion has been made. Member Gately?
Why are we changing it? Can't we just meet at the ad building like we always do?
I think I would recommend that we look at a space that has much more open space. I think the meeting hall, there's plenty of room in there. The public can come. There's parking. There's access points, and if people want to come and testify, we are moving in a better direction. This is my perspective. Again, it's up to the committee. I think it's an opportunity to take a well-used space, open space, and allow if there's a broader discussion from the community, which we anticipate could be part of that discussion. That I think doesn't mean we won't be meeting in our regular space at other meetings, but I think that it's a public meeting and a public hearing, and I know the governor has given as part of his recommendations moving forward. I know he's filed some legislation with the legislature to continue to give some leeway on public meetings. So I think that would be a reasonable suggestion, and the other members agree. And I think the one question I would have, thank you, Member Gately. There's a question related to the, it's Thursday night, July 1st. Anticipate that that it will be available that night. Typically, those nights are always available. So, Mary Jules?
Terry Young has already confirmed that the Chambers is available for us, and they've already checked with ISD to have the doors open. So, I think we just need to agree on what time. So, if the members want it at 6 o'clock, that's all.
So there's a motion on the table. Michael, Member Sadowitz made a motion. Member Nicholson?
Yeah, just quickly on the timing. Assuming we're doing a meeting after, just a suggestion that we say that the meeting starts immediately following the conclusion from the public hearing as opposed to a specific time. So we can go right into it.
That's correct. That's correct. We've always done that, Mr. Mayor. The posting that
Great.
I'll put in the paper will clearly articulate that as well.
Great, thank you. It's a friendly amendment to, I think, Member Sadowit's motion. So Member Sadowit, if you would like to articulate that, we can,
So
we'll get a second and move on to roll call.
I'm
Go ahead.
amending my motion that was just approved to include a time and a place, and to also include that the regular scheduled meeting would to be happening right after. So the amendment to my original motion is that it will take the meeting will take place at 6 p.m. at City Hall Council Chambers at City Hall, and immediately following the hearing on the budget will be our regular scheduled meeting.
Thank you, Member Sadowit. There's a motion to accept that amendment to the original motion. Is there a second?
Did we
Great,
agree on the
second.
date?
July 1st.
July 1st.
July 1st, okay.
That was part of the first motion, but thank you, Member Floyd.
Okay.
So, again, I'd like a roll call on that motion, please.
Member Castellanos?
Yes.
Member Capola?
Yes.
Member Ford?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes,
Member Nicholson?
Yes.
Member Sadowit?
Yes.
Mayor McGee?
Yes. Kevin, thank you for that input. Next on the agenda, another item that didn't anticipate to be taking up, but discussion on an interim Lynn Public Schools attorney. Through discussions with the City Solicitor's Office and George Markopoulos, they have offered to play the role of interim school attorney over the next few weeks, subject to the meetings we have scheduled moving forward. I don't know if there's any discussion related to that. I don't know if some of the members have had a chance to talk to George Markopoulos, but I think they have very generously offered their expertise and on an interim basis to fill John's role while we move forward. So I don't know if there's any discussion on that, but I think it's I want to thank them for that. Member Sadowit?
I just, one of the things that came to mind is when we had our joint meeting with the council to discuss what's going on with Marshall Middle School, and the way that meeting was handled. We all have our opinion on that, but what I hope is if they do come to help us, that it not involve certain aspects where they've represented the council in certain things, just like any legal person wouldn't do. So I just want to make sure that there's some guidelines there, and if they want to help, that's fine. But I think we should not forget that there's just some competing interest with regards to school property.
The point's very well taken, Member Sadowit, and I think the suggestion is particularly to form into, some of the, specific questions that arise at meetings. I think in terms of what we have on our agenda, there is I think most of the work's been done, so it would really be more to, questions related to either or. I think Kevin identified some of the questions that would be addressed. I think it'd be a question to form and to what needs to be done related to roll calls and, you know, that we're ensuring that we're moving forward in an appropriate manner without any legal problems arising. We have a lot of attorneys on this, number of attorneys on this board, so I think we understand that. So the point's very well taken, and I think the role on an interim basis would be for specific purpose to help us at least get these meetings, have them done in an appropriate way, and in the meantime, we can have further discussions about what next steps would be. So again, this is on an interim basis, on a specific agendas scheduled moving forward that reflect the school committee's agenda and the school committee's interests.
And that would
be go ahead, Member Sadoway. Well, I think I think my understanding is I don't know if there's a lot of negotiations at this point, but you know, typically I know there's been a substantial input from John Myhouse in the past, but typically it's the superintendent as well as the negotiating committee that works closely on those negotiations. And if there's more that I'm missing here, then you know better than I do, in terms of what's happening on the negotiating side, because I know you're a big part of that.
I think John played
if you will comment on that.
a vital role in our negotiation. So we'll see how it goes. But okay, I appreciate the input.
And at any time, if we again, this is up to the committee to this is on an interim basis. But if there's a feeling on the committee that there is potential could be potential issues that arise, we can have ongoing discussions. It's our role to make a decision on how we run our meetings, as well as our legal counsel. So that is not only a subject for tonight's meeting, but would be subject for meetings moving forward to have further discussion. So I think all of our goal is to meet the interest of the committee, meet the interest of obviously those that we'll be negotiating with, as well as some other issues we'll be dealing with over the next few weeks. You know, I think at this point, if people are willing to take a step forward on this and then revisit it, we can revisit it at the next meeting, have further discussions. Or if there's more concern about moving forward on this, we can have further discussion. So I appreciate everyone's interest. Member Gately?
Earlier this week, I dropped into Attorney Markopoulos' office and I spoke with him, and this was Tuesday, and he was already locating and looking at Attorney Myhouse's, work log and figuring things out for us. So I think that he has it in hand and he has a good understanding what we need. So that was my feeling. I think he would do a really good job for the interim. Thank you for allowing him to do that.
Member Capola?
I think that that's a generous offer, and I think that we should really take him up on that. And I think that it will work well for us as an interim situation. So does it require a motion, Mayor?
I would like to get the committee both to make a motion and to vote to approve that. I think it's important for all of us to be making those decisions together. I would echo what Member Gately said. I think it's a generous offer under the circumstances. This is very, as I said earlier, a very difficult time for all of us. Mm-hmm. So I think we're all working together, and I know the law department is understanding the. I've worked with John over the years as well, so this, we're all trying to navigate through this. So I would ask if there's for a motion. I'm happy to have other discussion related to this. If anyone else wants to weigh in, again, this is on an interim basis, and then we can further make some decisions and discussions over the next few weeks as we look to move forward.
Do we use in the motion, is George Markopoulos' name is used in the motion, or is it just a broad?
I would be specific.
specific? Okay.
I think, that's a good question. Member Sadoway, do you have a response to that?
I would be specific, because it's a particular role for a particular, a person, and just for liability reasons, there should be someone that people know that they can go to, and that would be George.
I think that's an appropriate response. I think the motion would be, on a specific, person.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion then that Attorney George Markopoulos be appointed as the interim Lynn Public Schools attorney.
Second.
As a second, I would just add to that pending further action, so it's not, it's on an interim basis pending further action from the committee to address the ongoing vacancy.
So moved.
And any of the other language, Mr. Mayor? About what interim attorney means?
Yeah, would you have a suggestion on that? That was my thought. What would be the, obviously we're working on an interim basis, and then we'll take, we have a right to make a decision at some point to move toward a permanent, recommendation. So I think on an interim basis with the school committee, subject to the school committee decision to determine, further action related to a permanent recommendation for, I guess I'm searching for the language. I'm struggling tonight, so.
You had good language, that it was more specific to making sure that our meetings were on point with regards to procedural, and not necessarily handling the day-to-day business that John would. And Kevin had asked, what about the stipend? Is this something that George is also going to receive, John's stipend, or is that not something that was discussed? So I think we have to address it.
I think I would, that's a good question. I think, again, I want to thank George for being willing to step in. There was no discussion of a stipend, or I think, and his suggestion was, obviously, not obviously, but his suggestion was exactly what you're talking about, to be available to help us through those kind of decisions we need on related to our meetings. I think we have 3 meetings left. We're looking at this limited period of time, and then we'll be breaking over the summer. So unless there's a need for a special meeting, hopefully I don't anticipate that. You never know with the way things have been over the last 15, 16 months. So there was no indication of a stipend. I think it was a generous offer for the law department as the city solicitor to help us in a really tough situation, to step in and work with us to get through this time. So I would suggest again the language that we used a little bit earlier, and I don't know that we have to be completely nail down exact language, but I think on an interim basis, committee is looking to accept the offer of the city solicitor's office, George Markopoulos, particularly, to help us address certain issues that may arise at the next several meetings, or at our meetings, while we're looking for a permanent attorney for the school committee. So again, if someone wants to put some language together on a motion,
That was perfect.
I'm open to that. I'm happy. That was perfect. So hopefully we've got that down in the minutes, and there's a motion on the table. And I'd ask for a second.
Second.
Second, and then requires a roll call, please.
Member Castellanos?
Yes.
Member Capola?
Yes.
Member Ford?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Nicholson?
Yes.
Member Satterwhite?
Yes.
Mayor McGee?
Yes. That is all we have on the agenda. I want to thank you all for being here tonight, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn. And I would like to have the motion to adjourn this meeting tonight in memory of John Myhouse, well-respected friend, colleague, and attorney for the school committee. Passed away on May 21st. Like to that we adjourn the meeting in his honor and memory tonight, and I'd ask for a second for that motion.
Second.
Second.
Requires a roll call.
Member Castellanos?
Yes.
Member Capola?
Yes.
Member Ford?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Nicholson?
Yes.
Member Satterwhite?
Yes.
Mayor McGee?
Yes. Thank you all very much, and hopefully you'll be able to enjoy this long weekend with your families. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.